Hello, my name is Omar Rampersad. It is Wednesday, March 21st, 2018 at 7:56 p.m. in Toronto. So I just came home and I found that my computer was down. It was not on the net. I had switched off the Wi-Fi, so it wasn't connected to the net, and I wasn't working on it. So I obviously I wasn't home. I was at work, so I wasn't working on it actively. And all the other applications were closed on the computer, so only the webcam was on. And the computer had an unexpected shutdown, and of course, the camera was turned off. So there were some comments I heard in my environment as I went to work and traveled and working and so on. So it would seem that somebody had a contract to surveil, and they're bouncing out of this contract around because I'm constantly being flagged. So somebody had their account closed today, and it would seem that the community takes it upon themselves to either come in here with a key, because of course the people who have access to keys, um, those keys could be duplicated by the criminals who are in the building. It's very possible. It's very possible that the people who do have keys are quote unquote monitors who have special privileges that the community gave them because it's all covered. Nobody would, rat them out, and the cops, there'll be no charges. So they come in here at will. And I also heard that I'm being harassed in the public that about being drugged. The public wants me drugged because they want containment. Not quite sure why, what the containment is all about. Apparently, I'm loud when I talk, and I'm very assertive when I talk because I'm a small person and I was taught from a very young age that I need to speak up. So this comes naturally to me at this point. So I'm not, there's a difference between being assertive and aggressive. So at work, I'm assertive. So I speak as I'm speaking now, which is assertively. However, because I'm a target and I have been targeted in past workplaces horrendously so, criminally so, which is, of course, is going to end up in a courtroom eventually. People will lie and say things like I'm being aggressive, I'm being, um, um, let's say, unpredictable, I guess I should say, would be a good word. Volatile. Lies, of course. I have a very outgoing nature, so I'm very expressive with my words. At work, however, I try to adapt to the environment that I'm in. So, and I do. So, if it's a quiet environment, I tend to be quiet. Once in a while, I may be a little bit outgoing in the workplace, but that's just once in a while. So, I mean, you adapt to the work environment that you're in. If it's quiet, you're quiet. If it's loud, then you go with the flow. You know, you're loud as well. So anyway, so as I said, I do suspect somebody was in here. I'm not going to say the names of the people whose names are on the account, quote unquote. Um, uh, the people whose name is on the account at whatever point in time, uh, subcontracts, contracts and subcontracts to someone in my environment, wherever I am. So that'd be the workplace, it'd be the gym, it'd be in my family's home. Somebody is always surveilling me and monitoring me because I'm flagged. Somebody is always reporting on me because I'm flagged. So this is causing a tremendous amount of harassment anywhere I go. I'm being driven out. So the person whose name is on that account will tell the people what to do when I am in the public, how what to do with respect to myself. So how to treat me. So I'm to be ignored. That'd be a good example. I'm to be mobbed anywhere I go. I'm to be driven out anywhere I go, and I am, especially in the Chinese grocery store and I just got harassed in the drugstore by a brown-skinned man who I'm assuming from what he was saying that he was probably Muslim. So Muslim because one of the monitors, or several of the monitors were actually Muslim people from the names I heard. People who were working in my past workplaces who was contracting with the main person who put their name on the account, most likely a family member, an in-law, not blood related. So this is ongoing and it's still going on. So I'm just going to make a statement. I'm not stalking anyone in the workplace. I know this is going on for 10 years now, and it's been reported for 10 years now, and there's no evidence for 10 years now. I am not stalking anyone, especially so now that I have a case going on against somebody who I have in a human rights tribunal right now for harassment. So I'm aware of what's going on. So definitely I wouldn't be stalking anybody. Now, I'll give you an example of how people lie and make up things based on the circumstances, deliberately misinterpreting and deliberately lying about what actually happened. I was in the bus stop, and the employee, a black man, I was saying, she's Sir Matters whore loudly because I was like 10 feet away so I could hear. She's an effing whore. Everybody's been in it. She's common, things along those lines. So, of course, when he was saying this, I looked at him. I looked in his direction, and I was, my ears kind of perked up. So I make notes when these things happen so I can talk about it as I'm talking right now. I wasn't talking directly to him. So he probably called and said something along the lines that she's acting weird. She's talking to herself. When actually what happens is I make notes about this harassment that's going on so I could refer back when I do take things to court that I have a record of it. So I may repeat what the people is saying, so I have a record of it, time, date, place. Um, if people are getting violent around me, I will take a picture. If I hear things like, I raped her last night, she's a whore, she's being raped every night. Somebody had a hands, or several men had their hands inside of her. When I hear things like this, um, you know, these are things that has to be reported in my view. So these things are very terrifying statements to hear, comments to hear from men especially, and bus workers, drivers, supervisors in the bus system shouldn't be saying things like this around women especially. So these are some of the lies that people are going to call into the cops and say, gee, I think she's acting weird again. She's talking to herself. I'm not talking to myself. I'm not volatile in the workplace. Um, I like all the other past workplaces for the last 10 years, there's been monitoring for the last 10 years. So I'm just going to say that. So again, there is no emergency here. I heard there was another warrant for a mental evaluation and something is going on and I'm depressed and I'm sick and all this stuff. So I'm not depressed. However, there is harassment. So harassment will take its toll, heart palpitations and so on, physical toll. So these things I am dealing with. So there is no emergency, and there's going to be a lot more court cases. So I'm going to assume that I'm going to be harassed even more because the Chinese and the other Chinese only because it's the majority of the people here don't want me here. So basically, I'm being driven out through harassment anywhere I am, especially especially in the building and within the area of the building. Very, very, very intense harassment. So because I'm dealing with it in a court, and it's a way to get this out in the open and try to get something something put in place. One of the goals I'm hoping that would happen is um, the issue of race is going to be dealt with, and the use of remote technologies like lasers and so on to get rid of somebody, to get somebody to leave their homes, their environment. I'm hoping that these issues are going to be dealt with through the court system. So because I'm in the court, um, and I know I'm trying to get something done about it, there's not going to be any retaliation on my part because it's already in court. So when people call the cops and say, "Oh my God, she's aggressive," I think she's unpredictable and she could be violent. And I heard the word gun. She has a gun in her knapsack. This is so utterly ridiculous. It's not funny. It could be funny, excuse me. It's ridiculous because I don't believe in violence. I have absolutely no weapons with me. I would never even think of carrying a weapon because I honestly think